Hey Savannah, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. So we're mostly going to talk through Chapter 7, Empathy, since that was the one that you had starred, but I'll kind of reference some other parts of your project throughout the video as well. All right, so the first thing that I look for in a body paragraph, which is the structure that we use here, is a topic sentence, and ideally we want that to be one sentence that really answers the question that was provided so that you can kind of preview what's coming in the paragraph. I thought that you did a great job with this, Savannah. Your topic sentences were always very concise. Like this one is just a sentence, but you clearly answer why empathy is integral and how it helps specifically like doctors and nurses in the medical field. So really good job on those. What I look for next is actually at the end of your paragraph, which is a concluding sentence. And we want that to kind of tie back to the question and sort of signal to the reader that the paragraph is over. I noticed, Savannah, that in a lot of your paragraphs, like this one, you end with evidence. Yeah, like up here as well. So I would just encourage you to go back and make that revision and just adding a simple, even summary of kind of what the paragraph was about really helps the reader to feel like, there is that conclusion and it isn't just cut off. So would encourage you to do that. All right, next I looked at evidence. I liked the selection of evidence that you had. I think you picked like good examples, especially in this paragraph that showed why empathy is so important. I also think like there were definitely moments where you are doing a great job with your embedding of evidence or like how you're integrating it. So if I read this part out loud, it says like, expecting the doctor to give him the cure that would save his life because, as it also turned out, the doctor's empathetic listening, blah, blah, blah. Notice, even with the quote, that flowed together really nicely with your own writing, and that's exactly what we want. So that was really good. Unfortunately, I did notice a few times like here where the quote was just a sentence on its own or it was just kind of awkwardly phrased. And so we want to make sure that it's always like this second one where you have the quote just flowing nicely in with your own writing, okay? Next, I looked at commentary, and I think I'm actually going to go to chapter 6 for this one, Savannah. I think you have some moments of really great commentary. Like when you're talking about metaphor makers, you give this quote about kind of what that is. And then I loved this piece of commentary because you actually gave an example. And so that was really good because that showed me that you like understood the evidence and could develop it even further. However, I also felt like there were some times, and I'm going to come back to the empathy chapter on this one, where you almost kind of jump from evidence to evidence. So you can see like right here, you have like a little bit of commentary, but then you go right again to evidence. Here, right again into evidence. This one goes pretty much right again into evidence, or just sort of restates the question. So I would encourage you to slow down a little bit, really get a piece, at least one piece of commentary after every piece of evidence that either like explains the importance of the quotation or does what you did up here with like an additional example. Okay, so that could be an opportunity to develop a little bit more as well. Lastly, I looked at conventions and citations. Your conventions looked really good to me. I can tell you proofread. I didn't notice any like glaring capitalization or punctuation things. In text citations, though, we do want to get rid of the comma in there. And then I noticed a couple times you'd italicized Pink's name, and you don't need to do that. So I know that seems small, but just trying to be consistent on that stuff. And then lastly, I looked at your R-directed activities and I thought those looked really good. I especially appreciated this one with the sink. When I saw your picture, I instantly was like, oh my gosh, girl, preach. Like, I hate that design flaw as well. And I thought that you did a nice job tying that to the chapter, how, that's something that does like annoy people and impede its functionality. So I thought that was a really good example. Anyway, just wanted to give you some feedback.